Welcome to the lead word. This is, well, not the first lead word of the year, but the first lead word of the football year. We've got week one predictions coming your way. With me, as always, Trey Daubert. I am Chad Bauman. Trey, what's going on?
I'm alive. We're recording this a little bit earlier than I wanted to because I don't have my week one picks finalized. We're 12 days or 10 days away from the actual first Sunday. So
Yeah,
I don't.
I was gonna say we're less than a week from the first game,
Yeah,
but yeah, 10 days, I guess, or whatever it is from the first actual Sunday.
yeah. So we're a little bit further out from when I would normally pick my game. So I don't have it exactly right, but I feel okay about some of the picks that I'm going to make here today.
I
Plus, normally we just do the recaps, the three things that we learned, and I guess this is the first picks prediction show that we're gonna do.
yeah, you know me, I don't prepare. I just fly by the seat of my pants. So we'll see how that goes. Uh,
I can start since I have Chiefs Lions on the list.
yeah, I
Since
was
it's
gonna
the
say
first
you
game.
got the first game of the season. You might as well give the
Yeah,
first
let's
prediction
talk
of the
about the
season.
first game of the year. Well, I'm not super prepared either, but this is what I know. Andy Reid always is prepared week one. That guy, if it's coming off a bye or it's the first game of the year, he is always prepared. I mean, go back. I
The
remember
Super
that.
Bowl.
Well, yeah. I mean, anytime where he has time to prepare, they're fucking really good. I mean, even go back to, I believe it was a week one game against the Patriots. Kareem Hunt went nuts. They smoked them. I don't know if that is the exact record coming off a bye, but I think it's like 23-3 or something like that. It's
Yeah,
it's something.
it's a lot to a little. I don't know. I know the exact off my
Yeah,
head, but
it's something banana land.
yeah,
So I expect Kansas City to put an ass whooping on the Detroit Lions. And, this is going to be a theme of week one, I think. I think the hype team is going to get their ass kicked. And the hype team all offseason has been the Detroit Lions. Did you see even the comment today, Chad? Brad Holmes, the Lions GM, put out a statement for just no reason that he is confident that the Detroit Lions will win the NFC North for the first time ever. Why would you do that?
wait, ever?
Yeah.
They've never won it before.
No, they've never won the NFC North. Why would you do that? Why would you jinx yourself right before the year?
I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm going to say, why wouldn't you do that? Like
So you're agreeing with Brad Holmes.
You gotta put some skin in the game, right?
Oh.
Like you came out, you put this roster together. You can't sit there and be like, oh, well, maybe we'll do good. I don't know. We might suck. Maybe who knows?
All
You
right.
fucking kick the door in. I'm fucking here, bitch. This is my roster. Everybody on this. We got CJ Gardner-Johnson. He's a little bit of a douchebag, but we got him. Jared Goff had a great year last year.
Goof. Yeah.
Like, just fucking go out there and strut your stuff. Like, if you fake it till you make it. That's what you got to do.
Now,
so, why wouldn't you come out and say you're
there
going
are
to
a few storylines in this game that I do want to talk about. Number one being, I mean, we know that the Kansas City Chiefs defense isn't exactly a world-beating unit. Without Chris Jones, they might be the worst defense in the league. I mean, maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, but Chris Jones last year, he was the best defensive tackle in football. He had 15 and a half sacks. There is just, you can't put a price on a defensive tackle that just wrecks the middle of a defense or the offense, whatever. He's not going to be there. So that part, a little bit concerning. Detroit Lions like to run the ball. They invested in the running back position this offseason. They gave money to David Montgomery. Apparently, they like Jahmyr Gibbs so much that they almost picked him with the 6th pick in the draft. They traded it down and still got him. So if you're looking for pathways for the Lions to win, Chris Jones not being there is one of them. But Andy Reid is just so good when he has time to prepare that I think the Chiefs will probably kick their ass.
I agree. I think the Chiefs, they're obviously from last year the best team in football. But it is what it is, right? Like I think, like I said, I picked Detroit to win the division, but at the end of the day, like this is a team that they're just not as good as. Especially, at the quarterback battle, the coaching battle. I love Dan Campbell's energy and I love his attitude, but he's not smart enough to sit there and coach against Andy Reid and out coach that guy. It's just not going to happen.
Not with time to prepare. No.
So
it's actually the third biggest line of the week. Kansas City is -6.5. I don't know. I mean, the Ravens are -10, which is the biggest line, and then Washington is -7 over the poo platter Cardinals. So I think Vegas is kind of telling you that they feel pretty good about the Chiefs, especially at home. It's a tough place to go in and win.
It's loud in Arrowhead, yeah. So, like I said, I don't disagree at all. Like I said, I think that like you're asking an awful lot of Jared Goff.
Goof,
whatever.
Goof. I don't
You're asking you're asking an awful lot of a guy that just does not like. He played good last year, but he's not good enough to go in the bright lights of week 1 Thursday night football and just be like, yeah, this is my shit. I'm tearing it up. So
one storyline, and then I'll let you start with whatever game you want to start with. But I want to see which wide receiver takes over for the Chiefs. Which one of these wide receivers, and they kept 7 of them. They kept 7 of them on their 53-man roster. Which one of these wide receivers becomes the guy? Do you have an early guess?
I would love it to be Rashee Rice, and hopefully he stops dropping the fucking ball. But who knows?
He's got the fucking butterfingers going on.
Like fucking Nelson Aguilar out there. God damn it, bro! Just catch the fucking thing. And it's not like he wasn't even. It's not like he was covered either. He was just dropping the fucking ball in open field.
He's been dropping everything.
Like it's like I think he might have to be one of my cuts. Like, but you know what? I guarantee. I'm gonna cut him, and he's gonna have like 10 touchdowns this fucking year because he's fucking open. He just doesn't catch the ball, and as soon as I cut him, it's gonna be like, oh, I fucking learned how to catch all of a sudden.
I think the correct answer is probably Kadarius Toney, but I also think he's probably not healthy coming into the year. He's tore his meniscus in the offseason. I think Justin Ross probably has the most talent, but he's still working his way back. Early reports indicate that he's going to be like a package guy, and then they hope to build on top of that as the season progresses. So who knows? It could be a rotating carousel for who's the wide receiver. 1 week it'll be this guy, 1 week it'll be that guy. So I'm just curious to see what
whoever it is really like they're the third option like in the offense because it's Kelsey, and then it's going to be whoever the running back of the week is. Like that's like
Pacheco.
I mean, obviously he only left 1 year ago, but like last year it was like, you're the third guy in this rotation here. You're not the man. You're just here to clean up, Travis Kelce's sloppy seconds. Like that's what it is.
So I'm just curious to see if there's like a breakout performance at the wide receiver spot. But go
ahead. So I forgot. What game do I want to start with?
Well, they're your games, so probably one of the 3 that you picked.
Yeah, I know, but which one of those 3 do I want to start with? It. I actually don't even remember. Oh yeah, I remember the third one now. I think. I'll go Sunday night game, Cowboys Giants.
Okay.
Honestly, I think we're gonna see a little bit more of the same from the Cowboys. They win the fall every fucking year. They win the fall. Last year, Dak got hurt, and it was Cooper Rush, and we're so good we can win with Cooper Rush.
And they did win a couple games with Cooper Rush, though.
Huh?
They did win a couple games with Cooper Rush.
I mean, he was like 6-0 at one point. Actually, I think he was 6-0 until he played the Eagles, and then that was his first loss. So, but my point is like we see it every year with the Cowboys. They come in, they win in the fall, and then come the end of the season, the winter, they fall off. I think it's going to be another kind of like normal season for them. I think they're going to come in. I don't think they're going to beat up on the Giants because I think the Giants, their front 7 is really good. I think they'll do enough to contain Dak. I think in the secondary, I know you're not a big fan of him, but I think Brandon Cooks, when he stays healthy, is still. I think his problem is he's not healthy. Like
I think his problem is he creates 0 yards after the catch. Like he's one of the worst receivers in the league once he has the ball in his hands. He doesn't create any extra yards after the catch. I mean, 0.
Well, I mean, if Malcolm Jenkins hit you like that, you probably wouldn't want to run after the catch either.
He I just think there's a reason why he's been on like 6 teams now, and it's not 6. I understand that, but he doesn't create any. Like Deebo Samuel is like an extra running back when he has the ball in his hands. Brandon Cooks may as well fall over as soon as he catches it.
I mean, that's what Golden Tate did. He was pretty good. He wasn't great, but he was good.
Good's maybe a stretch.
My point is though, I think Brandon Cooks, like, he does give an element, like a deep threat element to the Cowboys. It takes a little bit of pressure off of CeeDee Lamb. I don't know who they said their tight end is. I'm assuming
Jake
it's one
Ferguson.
of the rookies. Okay, I'm not really scared of Jake Ferguson, but like I said, I think Tony Pollard does some of the stuff that your tight end would do, like in the short game. Speaking of yards after the catch kind of guy, we know Pollard can run with it. I'm seeing the Cowboys maybe by a touchdown. I think the Giants will stay in it just enough, but I think Mac Jones lets them down. I should say lets down their defense.
Daniel Jones.
And I think Brandon Cooks is going to get a couple deep bombs, I think, on the Giants secondary. The Zach Martin still hasn't reported yet, right?
Yeah, he's back.
He is back? Okay, I thought I didn't hear that. I mean, I think the Giants are good enough to get to Dak a few times, maybe force a couple turnovers. We know Dak likes to give it away, so that's why I think they'll be in it a little bit. But I think overall it's going to be the Cowboys. They're going to win this one.
I have the complete opposite take. I think the Giants are going to go in there and win. They're at home. I think the line's a little bit of disrespect. I mean, that's going to be a field goal game either way. So I will happily take plus 3.5 when it comes to the Giants. And I wrote this post. I think the Cowboys are going to miss the playoffs, and if they're going to miss the playoffs, they're going to have to lose games like this. First and foremost, there's a huge coaching disadvantage here for Dallas. I mean, Brian Daboll, the things that he did last year, I don't know how people couldn't have been impressed. He turned Daniel Jones into, wow, he sucks, into, what? Wait a minute. The Giants just gave Daniel Jones $40 million a year? That was him. Daniel Jones is the same guy. Daniel Jones didn't just get magically better. The head coach of the New York Giants is fucking really good. Even Saquon Barkley had a really good year compared to when he was not there. So, and I think this is going to be maybe the most underrated addition all year. I haven't heard any buzz on Darren Waller. No buzz on Darren Waller. People seem to be sleeping on Darren Waller. I mean, last year they had nobody to throw the ball to. Like, who the fuck were their wide receivers? Now, they got some guys. I mean, Darren Waller's pretty good. And they had Jalen Hyatt, nice little third-round wide receiver. Hopefully, Wan'Dale Robinson can do something. They had Paris. I mean, they actually have guys now. I mean, last year it was, Hodgins, the former Oregon State guy, was leading them in receiving yards. I mean, they have guys now. They even have a backup running back now, and they didn't last year. So I think the team's going to be all right. Hopefully Evan Neal takes a step forward. I think Thibodeau's a fucking monster. I think the Giants are a playoff team, especially in a bad NFC. If it was the AFC, no. But I am just not taking Mike McCarthy to beat Brian Daboll in the home opener with time to prepare with this Giants team. They just traded for Isaiah Simmons. Like, they're making additions left and right.
But I think that's the thing, though, right? We know these Cowboys, they win in spite of Mike McCarthy, right? Like, that's how it is. Like, and it's happened pretty much every year. Mike McCarthy, he's not a good coach, and I will die on that fucking hill.
He's a terrible coach.
Anybody can look at what Mike McCarthy has done in 2 fucking head coaching positions and be like, yeah, that's the guy I want to coach my fucking franchise. I guess unless you're Jerry Jones, right? But at the end of the day, I think the Cowboys do enough to win. Like I said, I think it'll be a close game. I feel like the Cowboys maybe, fourth quarter touchdown puts them ahead, and they just managed to barely hold on. So
I want to refresh my brain on last year. But last year, the talent disparity was pretty wide. I mean, Dallas, I think, actually probably took a step back They lost Dalton Schultz. I don't think I love
I don't
Pollard.
think Dalton Schultz was that good. Like,
No.
they lost Dalton Schultz. It's not like fucking CeeDee Lamb just broke his leg the last day of camp. Like, oh, they lost Dalton Schultz. Big fucking deal.
No, but a lot of those things have started to add up. Like even Zeke, I know Zeke's not the guy he used to be, but asking Pollard to do everything, I think it's a tough ask. I just think it's a tough ask. And not only that, Dallas has now beaten the Giants in 4 straight. 4 straight. I don't think the talent gap is that big anymore.
So, like I said, I think it'll be close. I don't think it's a huge talent gap either, but I think it'll be close. And like I said, Dallas wins the fall. They do it every fucking year. It's not until we get into late November, December, January when they have their collapse. And I think, and like you mentioned, like, yeah, it's a hard ask to be like Tony Pollard, go out there and do everything that Ezekiel Elliott did. But at the end of the day, it's game 1. It's day fucking 1. Everybody's got 100% gas in the tank. Everybody filled their shit up. They just went to the gas station, filled it up, and now they're ready to go. Tony Pollard, he's got a full tank right now. Yes, as the season goes on and he's got a more expanded workload, is it going to be a lot harder for him? Yes, 100%. But day 1, he's A1 right now. He's good to go.
I'm halfway convinced you're picking Dallas so that you can like ride both sides of the fence. If they win, it's see, they were going to win anyway. But if they lose, then it's like, see, told you, I'm not just being a hater.
Well, no, I mean, if anything, it would be the opposite. I would pick them to lose, and then they would lose, and I'd be like, hey, they suck just like I said they suck. I'm not just a hater. If they win, but if I pick them to lose and they win, it's like
exactly.
I could come back and be like, oh, well, we know they're good in the fall. Let's see what happens in the playoffs. So you got it the opposite. If anything,
okay.
Me picking Dallas is like, hey, like.
I think if we learned anything over the last however many years I've been alive now, coaching matters, and I'm just with time to prepare. I will take Dayball.
All right.
I
can agree to disagree.
My next game, and I don't really have an angle here. I just think it's the best game of the week. And it could be one of those games where I hate even doing this, but it could be one of those games that comes down, end of the year. Oh, remember that week 1 game? Oh, yeah, we have the tiebreaker now. Dolphins-Chargers. That's going to be fascinating. That's going to be a fascinating game because Brandon Staley and Vic Fangio have spent time together in the past. These are 2 staffs that know each other pretty well. I just think Miami's defense is going to be significantly better than it was last year. And realistically, Fangio should know or have an idea of what Staley's trotting out there. At the same token, are we positive of that? Because Kellen Moore is now the new offensive coordinator. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect. I think this game could be a total toss-up. I have no real opinion here. I'll take the Dolphins, even though I don't really feel great about it. These are 2 teams that are in the mix in the AFC. We don't totally know everything about them. What's the offense going to look like with Kellen Moore? What happened with Justin Herbert last year? He was last in the NFL in air yards per attempt. That seems fucking crazy. Are their receivers healthy? When Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are out there, they're pretty good, but will those guys last? Austin Eckler's in a contract year. That last year, the Chargers defense was fucking soft. Is McDaniel smart enough to run the football on him? Here's a fun stat. Miami, 31st in rushing attempts last year. 31st in rushing attempts last year with a quarterback that's 1 bad hit away from being done. Is that going to change? Is Vic Fangio going to curse out McDaniel halfway through the game? Hey, start running the ball. Please don't put my defense back on the field. What are we getting from Tua and the Dolphins this year? Is their offensive line going to hold up? Is Tyron Armstead even going to play? So I don't know. I'm all over the place with the game. I wouldn't bet it.
I feel like knowing what I know about Mike McDaniel, probably not going to run the ball a lot.
Which is crazy because he was hired he's the run game coordinator in San Francisco. That's what he was hired to do. He's this run game guru, 31st in rushing attempts. Now Jeff Wilson's on IR. Achane may be kind of healthy for week 1.
Think about it just from this perspective. Like, Tua had like 2 basically like devastating, like he now has CTI or CTE, whatever it's called, fucking brain traumatic injury concussions. And then as soon as he comes back, well, let's fucking throw the ball, guys. Yeah. Like, there was zero protection of Tua last year. And now, like, all of a sudden,
this year?
Like, we're expecting, like, I have zero expectation that it's going to come back and we're going to be like, oh, let's fucking protect our guy now. Like, you didn't do it last year. You're not doing it this year. I mean, to be honest with you, though, like, and I mean, this sounds kind of callous and maybe it's not the right way to say this, but why would you fucking run the ball? You got Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Mike Gesicki's kind of good.
Waddle, not Chase.
Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, same fucking person. They're both really, really good. They'll win you your fantasy team. But like, why would you want to run the ball with those fucking guys on the outside? Like,
I don't know.
Like, I don't even know who their running back is. I didn't pay
Mostert. It's going to be the Mostert show in week 1.
Well, fuck, I didn't pay good money to see fucking Raheem Mostert get the fucking ball. Fuck that. And to be honest with you, I've never been a Raheem Mostert guy. Like, I'm not a big fan of his, and I feel like he's only there because he was McDaniels over at San Fran when Mostert was there.
Mostert's also
that's why he's on the roster.
Mostert is also a ticking time bomb in terms of health. But I just wanted to point this out too, and an additional side note for the run game. They gave the fucking fullback, Ingold, a lot of money. He's now the highest paid fullback in the league. I have to double check this. I don't have it off the top. I think they gave him $7 million a year. If you're gonna do that, why didn't you fucking sign Dalvin Cook? You couldn't wait on the Alec Ingold extension.
They didn't need Dalvin Cook. They needed a fullback.
They have a fullback.
Yeah, that's why they paid him $7 million a year, so they would have one.
Why would you give your fullback a $7 million per year extension over 3 years, but you wouldn't give Dalvin Cook money when Jeff Wilson's on IR and Achane's hurt, and you're going to run out Mostert and Salvon Ahmed, and you were 31st in rushing attempts last year, and 2 is 1. What are you doing? What is Chris Greer doing?
Can we say this though? Like with regard to Herbert versus Tua, isn't it kind of like, I don't know about you, but I feel like they had sort of the opposite of the careers that I was expecting them to have a little bit. I mean, obviously, like, Tua's had some injury struggles, but he also struggled like pretty early before he started getting the injuries. Meanwhile, Herbert's been fucking airing it out ever since he first got to start when Tyrod Taylor almost fucking died.
So I think Herbert was better when he first started. Like last year, I don't think Herbert had a good year.
Well, I mean, that's sort of my point. Like, we kind of like, you think back to that draft, we were like, oh, Tua's going to be the guy, Herbert's going to suck. And then it's kind of, with the exception of last year, when, if you take away the concussions, it's kind of been the opposite, where like Tua's kind of sucked. I mean, part of that's being on a bad team, but like Herbert, for the most part, thrived. Like, there's a little bit of a parallel there.
I think this will be the big year. Herbert was more ready to play. I don't think there's any question to that. He was a 4-year starter at Oregon. He started at Oregon basically every single fucking game. So the fact that he came out and was ready to play wasn't really super shocking to me. I think defenses have kind of figured out him a little bit. He's an idiot sometimes with his mistakes. I mean, some of the throws that he makes, you're like, what are you doing, guy? I think more than anything, Flores totally tanked to a stock. I mean, that was a total fucking shit show when Flores was there. Last year, Tua was very good. He led the NFL in yards per attempt. He led the NFL in quarterback rating. We'll see what happens this year. I think this will be the year where, oh, he's here now. Oh, he's here.
So gun to your head, you have to pick one of these teams to win.
I picked Miami to win the division, so I will ride with it, but I have no confidence in it.
I think I'm gonna go Miami too, just because I feel like Mike McDaniel is the
There
better
is
coach.
one positive, and it's that the Chargers probably have the worst home field advantage in the sport.
Yes, very, very true. I would not be surprised if that's basically a Miami home game.
Yeah. So, hey, we want to say week 1 jitters, maybe helps being at home, fans behind you to open the season. The Chargers have no home field advantage. I mean, 0.
Yeah. Anything else on this game for you? And I agree with you. Like I said, I think Miami has the edge in at least coaching wise.
I think this is the game I am the most excited about, with maybe a second place finish to. I think the San Francisco-Pittsburgh game could be more interesting than people think.
All right. Before I go to my next game, can I just say one thing? And it was something I saw talking about Jalen Waddle and Jamar Chase. It just kind of reminded me of this. I love that like the no running back in fantasy thing is kind of like taken off. I feel like I've been the pioneer of that. Like my entire fantasy career, I have I have gone heavy on running backs or heavy on fucking wide receivers and it had shit running backs. And now like everyone's like, oh, don't take a fucking running back. And I'm like, dude, I've been doing that.
You went a little too far with it though. You had it wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna wait on my running back. You had, hey, my running backs put up 1 point this week.
Yes, but like I got a combined 70 out of my wide receivers. So yeah, like I'm just saying, like you guys are just starting to finally catch up to my strategy. Like it's like the run and gun in college, and like, oh, they're putting up 50 points a game. Yeah, so you're welcome. People finally took notice. They watched the game film. But I guess going into my next game, I'll save the best for last, I guess. My next game, I got Bills and the Jets. I'm kind of going back and forth on this just because knee-jerk reaction. I want to say Bills. But then, like I said, when we talked about the division winners, the Jets, I didn't really know what to make of them, this year, especially with adding Aaron Rodgers. After watching the last episode of Hard Knocks and seeing Aaron Rodgers finally get to actually play in a preseason game, like, I don't want to say I'm completely turned around on the Jets, but I want to say, like, I feel like they're good enough to win week 1.
Oh,
like Aaron Rodgers is kind of special. Like, I mean, going back and forth on it, but I feel like if Aaron Rodgers can just be Aaron Rodgers, like this will be a close game, but it'll be one where the Jets win. I feel like he seems to genuinely like Garrett Wilson and Zach Wilson too.
Not?
Like Zach Wilson too. Like I know there was like shit that came out when like after Jordan, I mean, obviously like he was beefing with like the Packers organization, but apparently like also like he didn't like Jordan Love in Green Bay, but like he genuinely seems to actually care about Zach Wilson. Like he genuinely seems to like being a Jet. Could this be like the first time in years we actually see Aaron Rodgers give a shit about football?
That is going to be, out of everything that happens with this Aaron Rodgers trade, I feel better about Zach Wilson than I ever would have. Like I legitimately think that Rodgers cares about him to the point where he will make sure he is a capable quarterback when he retires.
So, and to be honest with you, look, I've always been a guy that was like, I don't give a shit if my fucking starter mentors his backup. Like, that's not his fucking job. Like that, like you have a fucking.
It seems like he's making that his job.
But so that's my point. Like, I've never been a guy like, oh, I want to bring in this veteran so he can mentor this player, because like that's what you have coaches for. Like when you like it's like in high school. And it gets bigger as you go over. But in high school, you get like fucking 10 coaches, right? Maybe if that. Some fucking schools may only have like 2 or 3 fucking coaches.
I think we had like 4 or 5.
Right? In college, you're going to get more. You're going to get a bigger staff. In the NFL, you have like fucking, you have an every fucking position coach.
I'll say
you have
though,
fucking coordinators, right? You have like like 30 to 40 coaches on staff at like any given point.
I like having Fletcher Cox with Jalen Carter. I think that's good.
Like I said, I've never been a guy like, oh, he can learn from so-and-so. No, he can learn from the fucking coaches. That's what you're paying them hundreds of thousands and maybe sometimes even millions of dollars to do. But like this Aaron Rodgers fucking, like seeing his relationship with Zach Wilson's like really turned me around on that take. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I need to start bringing guys, well, not me personally, but Howie needs to start bringing guys into the Eagles to mentor some of our young Georgia players. So I just wanted to say
he's
that.
got that with Fletcher Cox and Jalen Carter. I have the complete opposite opinion of you. I think the Bills are going to go in there and smash them. And this really has nothing to do with the Jets. I said in the prediction show, I think they could be a playoff team. I think they could miss the playoffs. The biggest question mark that I have is their offensive line. If they can't protect Rodgers, it's not going to fucking matter. But last year, I think we kind of forget with the Bills. Last year, week 1, they went into the Rams and kicked the snot out of them. I think they're going to do the same thing here. I think the line is way too low. It's in Buffalo, primetime game, right? It's in Buffalo, I think.
No, I think it's in New York.
No, it's in New York. Okay. Yeah, big primetime game in New York, but it's not really much of a travel. I think they're going to go in there and smash them. And the biggest difference this year for Buffalo that's not being talked about, Chad, I don't know if you watched any of the preseason games, but NFL Network hired Leslie Frazier to be like an analyst there. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I break down X's and O's. I'm not a film guy. I don't pretend that I am. But watching Leslie Frazier speak on NFL Network, I am convinced that guy is one of the biggest fucking dopes of any coach that ever existed. And the fact that Sean McDermott fired him to retake play calling on the defensive side of the ball is going to help them.
So, I mean, maybe. But
And
like I said,
the biggest thing is the Jets, realistically, like Rodgers has been there a couple months. I mean, they're gonna be a team that gets better as the season goes along. I think we can all agree on that, whether it's getting their offensive line fixed. Breece Hall isn't 100% healthy. Dalvin Cook doesn't even know the offense. I mean, right now, it's Garrett Wilson, go get open. I'm going to throw it to you 100 times, and we hope that it's enough. That's a team that's going to get better as the year goes along. Buffalo, Allen and Diggs have been there forever. It's Gabe Davis. It's Dawson Knox. I mean, that team has so much continuity. They bring back their play caller. That team is virtually the same as it was a year ago, and I think they were embarrassed that they lost to the Jets last year. So I think they're going to kick the snot out of them.
I think Aaron Rodgers, like I said, I think it's all Aaron Rodgers. I think, again, he loves Garrett Wilson. I maybe a young, not like young Devontae Adams, but kind of like a relationship that he had with Devontae Adams. Like, he's got his safety blanket and Randall Cobb, who's like 1,000, but he's still fucking there. I think when the Jets were at their best last year, it was when they were able to run the ball and get behind their defense. And once who is it? Michael Carter got hurt.
Breece Hall?
Yeah, whatever. Breece Hall, whoever it was. Once he got hurt last year, we saw their running game just drop off a fucking cliff.
They were a totally different team.
And they couldn't get behind their defense. I don't know, man. I like the Jets' chances in this game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I feel like if they can just run the ball and just let Aaron Rodgers do what he does, and you know what? You're right. Like, outside of Garrett Wilson, they don't have the greatest fucking options for this guy. But at the same time, we've seen Aaron Rodgers not with, necessarily dog shit receivers, but we've seen him like with guys like he had like how many years in a row did he in Green Bay did he have Devontae Adams and that was it? And he was still doing numbers, right? I think the biggest difference is like he actually wants to fucking play football this year.
I'm not saying they're going to have a bad year. I'm just saying to ask Rodgers to be the hero in week 1 against the Bills is a tough ask.
I mean, that's just who the guy is, though. Like He's ready to go out there. Like I said, like
Hey,
we've seen week one Aaron Rodgers be apathetic and just go out there and sling it. Now he actually gives a shit week one.
I think it's good that he's cares again. That's great. But to beat this Bills team in week one with less than ideal circumstances, let's just call them that. That's going to be a team that's better by week 10.
I think, to be fair too, I think the Jets D line gets to Josh Allen. We know Josh Allen, like I said with Dak Prescott, if you can get pressure on him, he likes to give the ball away. And I think the Jets are in a unique position where they can get to Josh Allen. I mean, what did Quinnen Williams in the one episode of Hard Knocks
He's a dog.
in the one episode of Hard Knocks in the joint practice, what did he have? He said he had like 10 sacks in one
He's
game.
A dog. Yeah, he's a dog.
10 sacks in one scrimmage? Are you kidding me?
He is.
That's got to be an NFL record.
He
Let's
is
go.
the only successful pick of the Mike McCagnon era, which he couldn't have really fucked it up. It was the third pick, so.
Yeah, like I said, I like you make good points, but I still think the Jets, if they can run the ball and get behind their defense, Aaron Rodgers can do the rest, get them in a position to win, and keep them there.
All right, I'll do my last game. Theme of week one will be killing the hype team. That's my theme for week one. I think the Jets are going to lose. I think the Lions are going to lose. And this last team. Chad, did you know the Chicago Bears are favored to beat the Green Bay Packers in week one? They are a 1 point favorite.
That's stupid.
They are a 1 point favorite to beat the Green Bay Packers at home. Now, home field advantage, 3 points, whatever, but they're still a favorite to beat the Packers in week one. I think that's a joke. I think that's a total joke. I think the Packers will go in there and smash them. That defense that Chicago has is terrible. And not only they're bad, that team's bad against the defensive or against the run. Their D-line is really, really bad. I think the Packers can just go in there and run the ball on them like crazy. A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones go win us the game. I think they'll be able to. And the Packers defense, pretty good last year. I mean, they held opponents to 13 points over the last 7 weeks or something like that. Like, Rodgers really didn't play well for them last year. We talked about, hopefully he cares now. That's great. But Rodgers really didn't play well for them last year. I don't really understand the idea that, well, they lost Rodgers, so now they're going to suck. Well, Rodgers really wasn't Rodgers last year. I think LaFleur now is in charge, or at least is empowered to do what he wants to do. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I think Jordan Love will be capable, respectable. And how many points is it going to take to win this game? 21 points gets you a win. 24 points gets you a win. I don't know. I don't buy Chicago at all. I think they're no better than a 5-6 win team. I'd have the Packers win in the division. I don't know. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Like I said, I think it's stupid that
to go out. I can hear you.
All right. I didn't know. I thought you would out. I think you were going to take him out. But so I don't, like I said, I think it's stupid that the Chicago is favored to win. I guess, like you said, when you're talking about home field, you automatically get 3 points or whatever. But I don't know, I don't think they're better than they were last year, and I don't think they were that great of a team.
What's the addition? DJ Moore
either.
Yannick Ngakoue.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really disagree here. I know yes, I mean, I guess maybe some of this is the effect of, Green Bay lost Aaron Rodgers. But, I mean, from all accounts, watching preseason games, Jordan Love's looked pretty good. So, I mean, it's still preseason, but you might even be able to make the argument that preseason is a little bit harder because you don't have a game plan set. So you're just kind of going out there and just playing by the seat of your pants. But, I mean, like I said, preseason's preseason. I agree. I think the Packers have a better shot to win than the Bears do.
I think they're going to smash them. And another thing is, DJ Moore's there. DJ Moore is going to unlock this Bears offense. I don't know if people are familiar with this, but Jair Alexander can cover anybody in the league. So you got to bring a little bit more than DJ Moore to the table here for me to take Chicago seriously, especially.
Yeah, and let's be honest too. Like, I mean, Green Bay. Like, when I think of like, oh, the best defensive fronts in the league, I'm not like, oh, Green Bay is like really fucking scary. But I mean, they're not bad,
I
and
think they're good.
Chicago does not have a good offensive line. So,
well, Tevin Jenkins is now hurt, so that's another loss. They got a rookie, Darnell Wright. I don't know. I wouldn't say they're all.
I mean, maybe like Vegas is predicting fucking Justin Fields runs for 1,000 yards in this game. Like, that's the only way I can see Chicago winning.
I said that in the fantasy.
Which, I mean, that's kind of how he almost beat the Eagles, so it's not like it's impossible, but I don't see that happening though.
Yeah, I don't have much on it. I just the hype team is going to be the theme for Week 1. I cannot fathom the idea that the Chicago Bears are a favorite in this game, and I think the Packers are going to win the division.
Yeah, I don't think the Packers are going to win the division, but I think they're still good enough to win Week 1.
Last game. What do you got?
All right, my last game, I'm going to go Eagles-Patriots. I kind of, like, part of me feels like there's a little bit of a trap game. I mean, it's hard to call it, but part of me kind of feels like, you know, Bill Belichick, he's gonna give you his best foot every single time.
Yep.
But at the same time, like, literally nobody on the Patriots offense or defense really scares me, right? Like Matthew Judon. It's like the only guy that I'm like, okay, he might have a good game. So, I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster, I'm not worried about. Devontae Parker, I've been waiting for him to have a good year every year since he came into the league. Still hasn't happened. Like, I'm not worried about anybody. And to be honest with you, the biggest liability is still Mac Jones. And I know, like, people are like, oh, the Eagles, they lost so-and-so, they lost so-and-so, they lost so-and-so. But to be like, look, everyone always talks about how the Eagles lost Javon Hargraves. And yes, Javon Hargrave was a really, really good player for the Eagles. But at the same time, if you take away Javon Hargrave's sacks, we still led the league in sacks by a mile. All those other guys are still here. Our linebackers are a little bit suspect, but our linebackers were suspect going into last year. So I still think it's going to be the Eagles. I just think it's going to be closer than what people are thinking it's going to be. I could honestly see them winning this game by like less than a field goal.
So I have a couple thoughts. Number one being Belichick's always going to give you his best game. His teams are always well coached, especially to start out the year. Like, that's not a guy that has his team coming out looking like slobs. Especially now they have a real offensive coordinator with Bill O'Brien. Their offense will probably be a lot better. Having said that, I just keep going back to this when I look at the game. Nick Saban, Bill Belichick come from the same tree. They've always had one thing that they kind of struggle with, and that's quarterbacks that can run. Lamar Jackson kicked his teeth in a couple times, like all of his defenses. His defense is still slow. Quarterbacks that can run, like even fucking Johnny Manziel beat Alabama. Quarterbacks that can run have always given those guys problems. And with Jalen Hurts just keeps getting better. Every time you see Jalen Hurts, he's better. He's better than the last time you saw him. So I just don't see how he stops Jalen Hurts. They're loaded, Philadelphia. They are loaded. And to ask Mac Jones to go in there and outscore him with the amount of pass rushing depth that they have on their defensive line, it's hard to see it. Now, weirder things have happened. I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots won. But given how the Eagles have always kind of really played them well.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I could see it being sort of like a surprise. Like it could be enough.
Chip Kelly beat them one year, right?
Yeah, he did.
Chip Kelly beat them. And that was Belichick at the height of their powers.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I could see it being a closer game. I still think the Eagles are going to win. Like I said, I think it might be a closer game than people think it should be. But I'm not going to lie. And one thing that people forget, too, is like the Eagles' offense was so good last year, but they didn't really have to be. Like, think about like every single game the Eagles had last year, outside of maybe like the Super Bowl. They had like a double-digit lead by halftime almost every single game.
Yeah, I think
Like they were in victory formation almost like to run out the third quarter. Like that's how good they were last year.
I think
And
their first half point differential was off the charts.
but that's my point, right? Like we didn't have to see the Eagles get into a shootout because they were so good that they had the game put away by halftime.
There's no doubt that Hurts actually would have put up better numbers if he was playing.
If our defense was worse than it was last year, he'd have had better numbers.
If they were in more competitive games, Hurts would have had bigger numbers. There's no question about that.
Yeah, so I'm like I said, I'm not worried. And I know they took a step back on defense, but the offense has only gotten better. Right? They didn't really lose anybody on the I don't want to say they didn't lose anybody. They didn't lose anybody that's like make or break, ultimately important. I think the biggest piece they lost was Isaac Seumalo.
Yeah, hopefully Juergens can go in there and replace him.
Yeah. But I mean, guess who's he playing next to? Jordan Mailata, who might have been one of the greatest offensive line steals ever. Like guy came from nowhere, never playing football, take him in the 6th round.
That draft will never not be hilarious when they traded up for Andre Dillard. And in the same class, they just took this fucking rugby guy in the 6th round and he was better.
Yeah, so like I said, I think the offense last year was always our strength and it gave our defense the ability to just go get the quarterback. I don't see that really changing. Our offense is still the strength and our defense took
your offensive line is not as deep as it was last year, though.
I mean, just don't let anybody get injured. We'll be fine.
Don't let anybody go down.
But like I said, I think the offense was the strength. The offense is still the strength. And what's the one thing that Belichick does better than anybody? The reason why he's so successful, he takes away your best option and makes you beat him with the other guys.
Well,
but everybody on the Eagles offense can be the best option on pretty much any team in the NFL.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find, 5 guys in the league that are better than A.J. Brown.
There's like a funny stat out there. I think Devontae Smith laid an egg in week 1 last year. If you take Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown's week 1 and clear them, they've basically had the same identical stats.
Yeah. But that's my point. A.J. Brown can be a number 1 receiver on any team in the league. Devontae Smith, also a guy, if you put him on any other team in the league, with the exception of maybe Cincinnati, Miami, he's the best wide receiver on that team. Dallas Goedert, I mean, he had a pretty good year last year. I'm hoping.
Can I talk about Dallas Goedert?
Huh?
Because he's one of the most underappreciated players in the entire league for this reason. The tight end position, in my opinion, has changed dramatically over the years. Guys like Juwan Johnson, they didn't really exist. It's almost like a new position where, Evan Ingram's not a tight end. Travis Kelce really isn't a tight end. Dallas Goedert is a fucking inline Y tight end. He blocks. He fucking blocks. And the biggest thing with Belichick is he knows, hey, this guy's lining up here, they're doing this. This guy's lining up here, they're doing this. Goddard never gives your play call away. Never. He's one of the few tight ends in the league. Oh, well, he could block here. He could block on this side. He could go out on a route. He's never a tight end that he's going out for a route. He's going out for a route.
Can I give you an underrated point to your underrated point?
Sure.
He couldn't block when he first got drafted. He sucked.
No, you're right.
He got good at it.
He's damn good at it. He's damn good at it.
But I think again, that's why.
But guys like that, Belichick struggles with, because if he can identify, oh, I know what he's doing here, I know what he's doing here, I know what he's doing here. With these running quarterbacks, oh, well, Goddard's going to block here in the zone read. Now he's going out for a route. Oh, fuck, I didn't cover the check down. That's a tough team for him to prepare for.
But I think, again, that's why one of the reasons why the Eagles offense was so good, not only that Dallas Goedert, but you have that at your quarterback position. Like you kind of said, like Jalen Hurts, he freezes defenders because, okay, we don't know if he's handing this off. We don't know if he's keeping it. If he does keep it, is he running? Is he throwing it? What the fuck is this guy doing? And so there's guys in the league like Lamar Jackson. I've said this before. Lamar Jackson's a running back with, I don't want to call him a running back because I think he's better than that. Lamar Jackson, I wouldn't say is a great quarterback. he's a great athlete that can throw the ball really well. I feel like you would agree with that statement.
Well, I never said he was a bad athlete. So
Right. So Lamar Jackson, I feel like he's a great
even
athlete.
though I think he was a pussy for not running the 40.
Okay, that's you clearly have some issues that you need to work through here, but for the sake of the show,
Okay.
Lamar Jackson, he's a great athlete that has a pretty good arm. Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback that can run the ball. Like that's a very subtle difference, but it makes a huge difference on the field.
Yeah.
So
I think we're good. We covered everything.
I was just gonna say, to recap, I feel like the Eagles, they're definitely winning, I feel like, but it's gonna be closer than I feel like people think it's gonna be, just because of Bill Belichick. But I think my guys got it.
Can I go with an upset alert pick in week 1? There's always, just to close out the show, there's always one pick. One surprise.
Are you about to say Baltimore Texans?
Nope.
Is that what you're gonna say?
There's always one surprise that kind of throws you for a loop. Holy shit, how did that happen? Why not Tampa Bay?
Let me see if you said Tampa.
Why not Tampa Bay? Why not Tampa Bay going in there and kicking the snot out of the Vikings? I'm just saying, that Vikings team last year, I don't know how they won 13 games. I have no idea how they won 13 games. I don't know. Would it be they lost to fucking didn't they lose to fucking Arizona one year? The Vikings?
I'm sure at some point in the Vikings history they have lost to Arizona.
I can't think if it was last year or the year before. But they lost like a stupid fucking shootout game that they never should have lost to piss poor Arizona. I forget it was last year or the year before. I could just see there what happens if fucking Baker Mayfield goes out there and balls it out. And then classic Baker Mayfield would go out there the next 5 weeks and suck. But just out of nowhere, Bucks.
How I guess my thing is, what was I going to say? I don't think that's the case, just because it is a 1:00 game.
Yeah.
If it was like a 4:00 or later game,
you're saying prime Kirk Cousins. Okay.
we're like the lights are off. It's no pressure. He's got it on lock. He's good.
Got it.
If it was like 4:00 or later, I'd be like, yeah, maybe Tampa's got a shot, but it's a 1:00 game. But
fair enough.
I mean, hey, Baker Mayfield maybe recapture some of his Cleveland magic. One last thing.
Okay.
I mean, the Cardinals are clearly going 0-18 this year, correct? Or 0-17, I'm sorry.
It's not looking good.
Did you see like that thing that like it was like it's like, I guess like a Hard Knocks thing, but it's on YouTube? Did you see that clip?
I just saw the clip and I didn't watch it yet.
It's so fucking terrible. Like, look, after my experience with Nick Sirianni, I never want to look at like a coach being very awkward in like a media situation and be like, this guy's gonna fucking suck.
The rock, paper, scissors shit.
Oh my God. Like,
yeah.
Like, there's no way behind closed doors Jonathan Gannon can inspire his players with how fucking corny he is. Well, like, it's so like at
Chad,
least
we talked about this last year. What did he bring to the table last year? Like, what did they see in the other than them going to the Super Bowl? What did they see? Oh, Jonathan Gannon. He's calling up all the. What did they see in Jonathan Gannon?
So I said, you got to give him so there's a thing in coaching, like you have to put your players in the best position to succeed. And you do that by putting them in situations where they can showcase their talents. So I give Jonathan Gannon credit for saying, this is what our guys do best. This is what we're going to do. And we're just going to let them do their thing. But he literally, that's it. He literally never changed his defense.
Never.
It was never a play call where you're like, oh, this guy is so fucking smart. Like, who comes up with that kind of fucking design on this play? It was literally just the Eagles had a more talented defense than everybody else, and it was fuck you to catch up. My thing is like
ever made adjustments ever.
But my thing is like, again, this is why, it's hard for me to judge the media interaction and be like, oh, this guy's going to suck, especially after what happened with Sirianni. But, at least with Sirianni, when he was having, the conversations with the players, yes, he was still a fucking cornball, but, he still kind of, got your blood boiling a little bit. This fucking clip of Jonathan Gannon is, he's like, Hey, who drove here today? Who took the bus? You got that fire in your gut? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, those two things, like, you didn't fucking make a point. You just asked a disjointed question that had nothing to do with anything. He's so, like, it's going to be terrible. Like, there is, like, zero motivational factor for this fucking guy. Like, and I said, and Nick was corny. But, like, with the players, like, he still got your blood fucking boiling. Like Nick, like, in his press conference was like, oh, I'm watering the flowers, and we're going to watch those seeds sprout. Yes, Nick, you're fucking corny. But, like, the players like the guy. Jonathan Gannon is just like, oh, how do you – oh, my God, you're trying to be cool, but you're not.
Like, I understood why Shane Steichen got a job. You could clearly see, oh, he had a real impact on what they were doing with Jalen Hurts. Oh, the offense definitely changed. Oh, he's calling plays here. I get that. What did Jonathan Gannon do to earn that job? I gotta know.
He must have had one hell of an interview.
Did you see the Eagles actually got draft picks for the Cardinals?
Yeah, because he interviewed during the Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah.
Which is a big no-no.
Well, he doesn't have to ever change.
And then he lied about it. Like, oh, like while he's interviewing for the Cardinals head coaching job, oh yeah, I'm gonna like telling the media, yeah, I'm gonna be back here next year. We're gonna run it back. No, the fuck you're not. We saw you go into the fucking conference room, John. We know you're leaving.
Never changes defense once. Never.
Yeah. But
again, did you see during the preseason game? He set the fucking house at Russell Wilson. He blitzed them on every fucking play. It was hilarious.
I didn't see that game.
Oh, it was so funny. It was constant man zero. Fucking send the house.
That is funny.
It was so funny. There was like a 4th and 11. He sent everybody. It was an easy touchdown for the Broncos, but he just sent everybody.
Maybe he's learning, but he's learning the wrong lessons. That's probably what it is.
Yeah. All right. I think that's good.
All right. House and Sad. I don't really. I just saw that clip today, and I thought it was funny. I wanted to see if you saw it too.
No, but you reminded me to go watch it, so I'm going to do that.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. As you can see down at the bottom, check out our website, vendettasportsmedia.com. You'll get all the articles that Trey referenced. You'll get articles that were not referenced, and you'll get all the links to all the other podcasts if you miss them on YouTube. Also, speaking to the YouTube channel, we want you to go ahead, hit up the YouTube, like this video, subscribe to the channel. That hit the notifications on that, click that bell so that way you can you'll know when we're dropping new videos. I saw I'm not going to watch it because I plan on playing the game, so I'm going to wait until after I play the game before I watch it. J Law started a new stream of Starfield, Bethesda RPG. He's got that going. So if you're interested in that game, if you're interested in Jackson Law's previous Vendetta series, check that out. Like I said, personally, I'm waiting until I get my copy before I watch it, but that doesn't mean you have to. Hell, you could fucking save it in your library in YouTube and come back to it after you get the game if you want. Fuck it. What else? Follow us on you like people on Facebook, whatever you do on Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook in so long. Go do the Facebook thing. Follow us on Twitter or X as the kids call it nowadays. You can check us out on Instagram. What else? You follow Trey at Trey Daubert. You can see it spelled right there on your screen. You follow me on Twitter at lowfooted LILFWOTED. Other than that, thanks for watching, and we will see you after week 1.